Yo, what is up, guys, and welcome to the LBA Season 5 Playoffs Round 1 pregame show. I guess you could call this Week 13 per se, but no, we got Round 1 of the playoffs, and we are taking on the Portland Timburs, which are coached by Tyler. And if you remember from last season, we played them twice, once in the regular season, once in playoffs, and we beat them both times. But you know what, that Tyler and this Tyler are very different Tylers in my opinion. He's been playing phenomenal this season. He's the creator of the league, if you didn't know, and he's always been really good, and this year he's been really good. He's the number 3 seed, sitting at 9-3 with a plus 12, and we're the 6th seed at 7-5 with a plus 13. And I'm actually pretty cool with this matchup, and for this week I have a pretty interesting game plan to show you guys, and it'll only make sense if I show you his team first. And his team is one of the more interesting teams in the league, and it is Landorus T, Mew, Breloom, Sharpedo, Alakazam, Mamoswine, Galvantula, Zoroark, Miltank, and Mega Aggron. So the first thing I noticed really was, well, there's a couple things I noticed. First of all, he has 2 extremely strong ground users, which is very scary. Next, he has Mew, which is unbelievably versatile. Then he's got a couple walls that are kind of okay, Miltank and Mega Aggron. But the thing is, his team is frail and offensive as hell. His team is so unbelievably frail. Breloom, Sharpedo, Alakazam, Mamoswine, Galvantula, Zoroark all can easily be OHKO'd by a lot of members of my team. And he does have potentially bulky mons in Lando, Mew, Miltank, and Mega Aggron, but that core of those very powerful and very threatening to me bulky mons, or offensive mons, they're just really frail, but they're so strong. And the way he's been able to win is using a lot of Volt Turning with Lando, Mew, and Galvantula to get in his frail things for free and then just drop nukes on things. And to take him on, and I decided to make a drop, and this is actually a drop I made before I knew my matchup, because I was looking at all the playoff teams and all these guys right here, and I saw that one Mon was just pretty good against everybody. So I decided I no longer really needed one of my bulky things because I picked up Slowbro. So I decided I was going to drop Mandibuzz for Toxicroak. And what Toxicroak does is it gives me a really versatile attacker, which is something I kind of lack. Most of my mons are one-dimensional on the offensive side, and what Toxicroak does is it gives me a lot of variety, because Toxicroak's move pool is absolutely humongous. And if you just kind of think about it, Toxicroak has the tools to really break apart this team, since Toxicroak has priority, it has strong moves, and it has a huge versatile move pool, which will let me hit a ton of his team for good damage. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm bringing this week. And Showdown, it's being loopy for some reason, but I haven't been playing any Showdown lately anyways, so it doesn't matter. But the squad, so the first thing I went with was, I noticed that Superior was really good against this team as well, because it's really frail. So if I can get rid of bulky things, the one thing standing in the way of Superior really is Miltank and Mega Aggron to a lesser degree. If I can get rid of those, I break potential sashes, I can just clear through his team with Leaf Storm. And oops, I'm running Choice Scarf Superior, and yeah, this is contrary. And don't roll your eyes at Choice Scarf Superior. I thought it was kind of absurd just thinking about it, but it's really something that will only work against Tyler's team because it is so frail. And with a Choice Scarf, it outspeeds his entire team. Nick's Sharpedo with 2 speed boosts, or a Choice Scarfed Alakazam. And he is very much in favor of his Scarfers. I watched a lot of his replays, and every single time he brought Mamoswine, it was Choice Scarfed. He's brought Scarf Zoroark, he's brought Scarf Landorus, I know he's used Scarf Mew. He brings a lot of Scarfers, sometimes 2, and I'm pretty sure he will bring one of those against me. So having a Scarf Superior, something that just seems really odd, because the thing that Superior does well is using its natural speed to outspeed things, and then hit things hard with its boosted coverage moves thanks to Leaf Storm. But just because he lacks many grass resists, he's got Miltank, which is immune to Sap Sipper, and Mega Aggron, which will not take that much, but doesn't have much recovery. Aside from that, he's got Braylon, which resists it, and Galvantula, but those things are not bulky at all. They are not taking Leaf Storms very much. So I decided that Scarfed Superior was going to be one of my win conditions, because it outspeeds his team. If he decides to bring Sticky Web, then he'll automatically give me a +2 speed, which will make me outspeed every single thing on his team. And also this is a pseudo check to Sharpedo, because it can't knock me out in one hit, and I can outspeed and kill it with a Leaf Storm, and then maybe get a Leaf Storm sweep rolling. My other moves of choice were Knock Off Glare and Hidden Power Fire. Knock Off to maybe hit Miltank on the switch in to get rid of its item, or maybe Glare. Just the only thing I'm really going to be using is Leaf Storm, but if he still has things that check Superior, I can use one of these 3 options to whittle them down and then just go in with Serp late game and clean up with Scarf Leaf Storm. And EV spread I'm running is 32 defense, 252 special attack, and 224 speed with a timid nature. I could run naive, but I don't really need to, because I don't want to be taking the extra damage from Ice Shard, and I guess I could run hasty, but I'm not looking for getting more damage out of Knockoff. Knockoff's there just because it's Knockoff and it gets rid of items. That's its utility for me. And if I can get rid of Sashes, or I can get rid of Miltank's Lefties, or Lando T's Scarf, or whatever Scarf, or anything Sash, or anything like that, that would be perfect, because he's going to run a lot of Sashes, he's going to run a lot of Scarves, and he's going to try and use those to just blow my team away before I can take him down. So having this I thought would be really interesting, and the speed is to outspeed a max speed Galvantula, and being if I get knocked off, or if he decides to run Scarf Galv, which I don't know, could happen. But this thing is I definitely took a slightly more creative route this week, because Tyler brings some more concrete options. He doesn't use a ton of variety. He uses kind of more similar sets, so I was kind of just trying to counter directly what he's probably going to bring, and I thought Scarf Superior would be a really good anti-Tyler measure. So the next thing I decided to bring was Manectric, and Manectric is just really good against his team as well. He's got 2 ground types, but neither of them like switching into an Overheat or an HP Ice, and I can also it outspeeds his whole team, it hits his team really hard, and against a really frail team, this is where Manectric shines, because it can just really plow through his team, and also does extremely well against all 4 of his potential Pokemons. I guess you could bring an Assault Vest Mamoswine, which would take it on, but Mega Manectric is just overall really, really good coverage-wise, and instead I'm bringing T-Bolt, Volt Switch, Overheat, and HP Ice with timid max speed, and I'm running max speed so that I can speed tie with Zoroark when I'm in my base form, because I just want as much security Mega Evolving as I can, and Mega Manectric's just so good against his team. It toggles the Intimidate, which is nice since he has quite a few physical attackers. It baits in ground types, which one of the things I'm trying to do is either bait in Mamoswine and Lando for locking themselves into ground types so that I can beat them, or just try and prevent them for ground types, because I've got Superior, which resistant Talonflame, which is immune to it. And also one more little surprise, but Manectric hits his team really hard. Normally I prefer Flamethrower over Overheat, but I just want the extra damage that Overheat can get me so that I can really hit Mamo hard on the switch in. And I won't be able to knock it out in one hit because they have thick fat, but I can do a ton of damage, and since all I've seen from his Mamoswine is Choice Scarf, I'm just going to switch out anyways after I go for the Overheat. So those are some things that I knew about. And next thing is another thing is Sword Dancing and Wind Conditions and Fast Things are really good against his team because his team's so frail. So I thought Excadrill would be fantastic against him, and I am bringing T-Tar, so we are bringing the Sand Rush, and I'm bringing Air Balloon Excadrill. And the reason for that is he has 2 things that can spam ground moves, and he has shown a tendency to run them scarved. He's been pretty inconsistent with what kind of Lando he brings, but he brings Scarf Mamoswine all the time, it seems like. So if I can generate free switch-ins to Excadrill with thanks to the air balloon, and then force him out so I can get free damage or a free rapid spin or a free SD up. That is absolutely perfect because Excadrill thrashes his team. His only check to it really is going for, well, is Lando. That if he's running physically defensive Lando, then I'm not doing much damage to him, but having that knowledge to know that it's not a Scarf Landorus would be huge. And SD Balloon with Jolly Nature, this is enough speed to outspeed Mamoswine, even though I do think he'll bring it Scarfed if anything. And max attack, and the rest is dumped into defense. And I'm dumping defense into all the extra EVs into defense on all my mons because he's got things like, well, it's mainly for Braylon because he uses his Braylon really well, and I want to be able to take those Mach Punches potentially, and Excadrill has a good chance to live a non-Life Orb to Mach Punch from Braylon, and also because his Zoroark can pack Sucker Punch, even though I think the only time I've seen him use it, I know he's used it a couple times, but I'm pretty sure it's special when he's used it. But physical defense I thought would be the way to go out. Also, I can take Ice Shards better from Mamo if he goes for that. But Excadrill on the balloon is going to be very big if he does bring those Scarfed Grounds like I do think he will. So having that as a way to force him to predict and make him make unnecessary switches and take extra damage would be huge because Excadrill does put a lot of pressure on his team. And even though Excadrill's kind of weak without Life Orb and Adamant Nature, once I get an SD up, it's going to be tearing through shit anyways, and when it's faster than everything, that's pretty big. And also, another reason why I decided to run Jolly was just in case he opted to run an Choice Scarves Alakazam. I want to be able to outspeed that thing because that's something that could catch me off guard and kill one of my win conditions, and that would not make me very happy. So I thought that it'd be fine running Jolly over Adamant because I have no qualms about missing just a couple extra %, especially when his team is so frail. So next up is the thing that I'm very excited for using, and we're going in with Toxicroak, and this set is Lumberry, Poison Touch, with Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Sucker Punch, and Fake Out, and the spread is 252 attack, 36 defense, which is just the leftover, and enough speed to outspeed max speed Mamoswine. So this thing is just really good, and with Fake Out plus Sucker Punch, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage against his team because, like I've been reiterating, his team is really, really frail, and getting Fake Out plus Sucker Punch with Stealth Rocks up and the 30% chance to poison with Poison Touch will give me a really good opportunity to break down a lot of his team. And Toxicroak, it gives me a check to non-protect Alakazam. I can just scout for items on things like Lando and Mew. I can just get chip damage off with the Fake Out because Fake Out is free damage. It's completely free. There's no downsides unless you have Inner Focus, and I don't believe anything unless he's running Inner Focus Alakazam. He's got nothing that will be immune to Fake Out. So Fake Out with Sucker Punch and Drain Punch and Ice Punch as my coverage. I can't really hit Mew with this thing, which is the only downside, but he's tended to not run Recovery on his Mew, so if I can hit with an Ice Punch, it takes the Ice Punch damage, it takes rocks, and I get a Poison Touch, and I can wear it down. And I do have switch-ins to Mew with T-Tar as long as he doesn't carry a Fighting Move, which of course he could run. But Toxicroak is just really good against his team. It's really weak without a Life Orb, but at the same time, his team is so frail, and getting the free chip damage off with Fake Out and then going for Sucker Punches can do quite a bit of damage to his weaker mons, and this just gives me a really good check to a lot of his things. I'm running Lumberry so that I can check Breloom, because that thing is very scary and he uses it really well, so I just wanted a thing that could deal with that no matter what, and it's just reassurance so that I won't get swept by an SD Breloom, because I'm pretty sure Fake Out plus Ice Punch will kill or get pretty damn close to killing. And that's about all Toxicroak's gonna do. I think this, if I do it right, Toxicroak will be a huge part of winning this game because ship damage will be really great against this really frail team. So I'm hoping that Toxicroak does a lot of work, and I hope that he goes in and gets a lot of damage off. So next mon I'm bringing His T-Tar sets up the stand, and the set I'm running is physically defensive Choppleberry with Stealth Rock, Crunch, Counter, and Ice Beam, max HP, max defense, relaxed nature. This thing is unkillable in one hit. Nothing on his team can one-shot it outside of a Choice Banded EQ from his Mamswine or his Landorus. This thing is just meant to set up Stealth Rock and hopefully bait in his Mamoswine or his Landorus or something so I can get a kill against one of his big threats with Counter or Ice Beam or anything like that. T-Tar is just a good defensive pivot for this really offensive team that I'm bringing, because this is sheer offense so far. So having T-Tar being able to do that, getting up rocks will be huge, and having Sandstorm to break sashes on things like Breloom and Galvantula and Zoroark will be very nice, and also lets me scout items on things like Mew to see if they have lefties, which he brings. All I've seen from him is either Scarf or lefties on his Mew, so it's going to be one of those two things. But T-Tar is just nice against his team because he thinks that he can kill me, but he can't kill me with any one particular hit that's not boosted or banded. And T-Tar, I'm counting on this thing to just get a surprise kill. I've never brought counter T-Tar before. He knows I've brought Choppleberry before. And I'm hoping this thing will scare him away from bringing things like Alakazam, because that thing actually is a humongous threat to my team. And T-Tar, it does get threatened by a whole lot of his team, but that's kind of why I wanted to bring it, just because it's threatened so much. I can take advantage of that and get a surprise kill with Counter, and get my Stealth Rocks up, and do all that kind of stuff that's going to really help me in the long run. And also setting up Sand for Excadrill to outspeed his whole team is kind of nice. So now we're going to go into the last member, which is Talonflame. And this is a set that's a bulky SD set with leftovers, and the spread is Sword Dance, Roost, Brave Bird, and Will-O-Wisp. 156 HP EVs, max attack, 4 defense and Spadef EVs, and 92 in speed. The speed EVs will let me outspeed Zoroark, I believe, so that I don't get sucker punched by that thing, because that was just something that I wanted to avoid. I could have ran enough to outspeed Alakazam, but there's really no need, because the only thing I'm using is Brave Bird, and Alakazam lacks priority. So this set is a win condition, because Talonflame is just amazing against his team, amazing against all of these things, because they aside from Mew, they lack recovery. His team has a serious lack of recovery unless he's bringing Recover Alakazam, and I think Breloom gets Synthesis, and his team as a whole pretty much lacks recovery, so Talonflame can wear down his team, or he can take a worn down team, set up an SD, and just clean directly through it. I could have brought Flare Blitz for Aggron, but it's really not doing that much, and I think the combination of Will-O-Wisp and SD will let me break down Aggron fine enough. I'm pretty sure with it burnt +6 Brave Bird is a 2-hit KO on it, and this thing is just incredible against this team, and having Air Balloon, Excadrill for spin support, and ways to weaken the checks being Landorus and Aggron are nice. And Talonflame is just so damn good against his team. I really couldn't see myself not bringing it. I decided that the bulkiest set possible would be nice while still being offensive, just because I want to be able to take potential things like Aqua Jets from Sharpedo, because I do think that will be coming, and it's just really, really good against his team. So that's the team. It's very offensive. I've got 3 win conditions really with Talonflame, SD Balloon Drill, and Scarf Superior, and then I've got ways Manectric really messes up his team as a whole, and Toxicroak also really messes up his team as a whole minus Mew, and T-Tar is there as a great support member, a pivot, and also a way to catch something off guard and get a counter kill hopefully, or just do a ton of damage with counter so that I can knock something like Lando out with the priority from Croak or Talonflame. So that's the team. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, make sure to drop a like and a comment, and I will see you for the game, because playoffs are coming, boys. Yeah, alright, see ya.